Welcome back to the next episode of Creep on June and the Grimwood Tales. Now, if you remember in our last episode, we left the twins running away from Badger's house. Frida was dragging Freddie, who had absolutely no idea what was happening, and let's face it, was still half asleep. When they were far enough away and completely out of breath, they collapsed onto the forest floor. Now, as they'd been running, pieces of the puzzle had been sort of slotting together in Frida's mind. The warning on the standing stone, the bottles and jars on the shelf with all their grisly contents, and the big pot of stew that the twins had been too hungry to think too hard about last night, as well as the Badger's excitement and eagerness to take the magic charm from Freddie. Frida shuddered. She didn't want to think too hard about what had been in that stew. And whilst all these pieces were starting to come together in her mind, she couldn't quite make out the full picture yet. But she definitely had a really uneasy feeling, and was now certain that whatever waited for them at home was better than being out here in the forest. However, in her panic to get away from the Badger's house, Frida had taken no notice of the direction which they had run. She was just in blind panic, and now they really had no choice but to just continue walking, and hopefully they were still going away from the Badger's cottage. Now, the twins had been walking for some time when suddenly an old chapel appeared amongst the trees. Now, the twins were surprised to find such a large building in the middle of the forest, but hoping to find at least some water to drink and maybe some shelter to rest a while they figured out what to do next, they pushed the big wooden door open and went in. Now, to their surprise, they found themselves in a hall completely covered in mirrors. Now, as the twins stared around in shock, a rat appeared at the back of the room. He held a tray with glasses on, and the glasses contained a strange coloured liquid. Cautiously but very thirsty, the twins drank the liquid gratefully. And when they went to hand their glasses back to the rat, they noticed that in fact the tray was a mirror as well. the rat seemed reasonably friendly. After all, he'd just given them a lovely drink. And so the twins asked him about the chapel and about this room with all these walls of mirrors. However, the only thing that the rat would say was, "Mirrors reveal your soul. They are powerful tools." And with that, he handed Freddie a small pocket mirror. "Take this with you and use it wisely," he proclaimed. And with that, he started back towards the door at the back of the hall that he'd come from. Frida was about to call out and ask him if he knew where they were and how they could get back to the castle, when suddenly she noticed something very odd. Despite all the mirrors in the hall, the rat had no reflection at all. Well, the twins exited the chapel quickly as the rat disappeared through the back door, and they crossed the graveyard and out through the back gate of the chapel grounds. They stopped just outside the fence to consider what they would do next. Now, as they sat there, leaning on the railings outside the churchyard, they suddenly saw a girl coming towards them, carrying a lantern. And she was a sad-looking girl, and she had very odd eyes. And as she drew closer, the twins could see that her lantern was powered not by a candle or a battery or anything like that, but it was full of fireflies. Now, not wanting to miss her chance this time, Frida called out as soon as the girl was in earshot and asked for directions back to the castle. "Do you know where we are?" she asked desperately. "No," replied the little girl. "I'm just searching for my grandmother. Have you seen her?" The twins said no, they were very sorry they hadn't. "Have you been searching long?" asked Frida. The girl looked thoughtful for a moment. "Oh, only about 70 years, she replied, and with that she disappeared through the gate and into the churchyard. And that, my friends, is where we will leave our spooky tale for today. We will be back in the next episode to see what our twins do now and where they go next. But for now, thank you for watching. Kakute anō.